The world's trolliest Warframe versus the world's baldest man. When I put that poll up some time ago, there was over 360 votes, and 50% of those votes went to Limbo. Needless to say, it was very painful to find an opponent for Limbo, but I have found an opponent in the form of Silver Surfer. But Surfer's going to be covered by someone else in the video. This is why I brought my friend, Legendary Grimlock. Say hi.
Hey guys.
We're mostly going to be covering the scaling of both characters, capping them both at 5D at a measurable speed. And then we're mostly just going to do a shoot on who wins. So, like, I guess for stats, let's talk about stats first. Grimlock and I had like a good 2 or 3 conversations on Limbo versus Surfer. I conceded in our discussions that Surfer is more than likely stronger physically. He has so many comic releases to the point that he's had to grow stronger at some point within those comics. So, we're probably looking at someone who's anywhere from like 10, 20, 30 times stronger, durable, more faster. But it's not going to impact the fight too much other than, you know, Surfer's really strong. I think it's, yeah, that's mostly it for stats, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I think that really covers it for him.
Yeah.
Both of them, I mean.
You want to just cover Surfer's powers?
Yeah, sure. So, Silver Surfer, is pretty straightforward. Power cosmic, allows him to do everything, you know, just about anything he really wants here. Energy manipulation, energy absorption, redirection, you know, he's able to create shields, he's able to turn intangible, he can disrupt different forms of energy to the point where he's able to disrupt characters like Wonder Man's ionic level, even disrupting characters with intangibility. He has astral projection to the point where he can fight like hell lords and stuff that'll like actually eat souls. So he has that little bit of, you know, astral resistance, if you will. And then his board here also has its dimensional properties, if you will, as he's able to trap them in it and just kind of like hold them there until he decides to let them go. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for Surfer. So what's Limbo?
So for Limbo, he has an interesting power count. In Warframe, when Void and Consciousness come together, they form a concept. Marvel also has abstract conceptual manipulation, but it's worth noting that Limbo has the same as well. On a certain level, he represents space and time, the traveling through space and time. I wouldn't say he's the concept of space and time, because that's some outer nonsense, and that'd be going over the stat cap, but we're looking at someone who can quite literally go between dimensions that overlap in reality, which effectively allows Limbo to not have to go anywhere, while at the same time being in a different location. When he's in this place, no form of draining, no form of negation works on him. He may as well not even be there. And while he's in that dimension, he regenerates energy. He has 3 other abilities that you can keep in mind. 2 of them are more or less the same thing, while the other 2 abilities are different. In gameplay, Limbo's loop completely revolves around his 4th ability, Cataclysm. Cataclysm is where he projects his pocket universe into reality, and when you're within that pocket dimension, assuming he hasn't teleported you out of it, you'd be able to hurt him within that dimension. However, Limbo has an ability to make you go to another dimension, and he won't be able to be hurt by you because you're not in the same dimension as him. He can also use stasis or time stop within the Cataclysm, and then he can trigger the Cataclysm again to turn into something called a Limb Bomb, where it just takes the people in there and just blows it up sky high. You want to just go ahead and give your opinion, Grimlock?
I mean, with Silver Surfer's whole scaling, you know, and the 5D stuff, I mean, consistently, like, infinite 5D and stuff like that, Idrisil, Thor, Hulk, etc. Surfer definitely could, like, Now again, Surfer's not a character I would definitely say if he gets his hands on you, he'll, rip you apart. Surfer's more about his hacks and abilities, so it takes a lot of him for just. Sorry, it takes a lot for him to just put his hands all over you, as we discussed earlier. Takes like you gotta really piss him off in order to do it. So the way I see it, it's either Surfer either gets a devastating energy blast or energy. I'll probably say an energy application, because he can do whatever he wants with it. He can turn someone's eyeballs into singularities if he wanted to. He can do just about anything he wants to Limbo. However, I would definitely say here, Limbo's definitely going to play the more cat and mouse route, which is going to annoy Surfer here. But I think after a while, I do think Surfer might hit him.
Yeah.
Or he could trap him in the board and just get him that way.
I think because he has a scaling advantage on Limbo, he could probably grab him and throw him in the board. It's just that Limbo has a lot of ways to stay out of the board, and then he has a lot of ways of
with
just
his
pulling
whole
Silver Surfer into traps. Like when Grimlock and I had this discussion, it pretty much came down to: is Surfer gonna use the board? If yes, does Limbo have a way around it? Technically, yes. So then that pulls into discussion the energy drain. Energy draining semi-works doesn't work on Limbo. You could technically say that it works on his base form, however, we do have documentation of some enemies within the lore being able to drain energy, and Limbo kills them all just fine. He can also teleport inside of his dimension to just collect energy, then come back out whenever he wants to. So, for Limbo, I feel like the win con is he needs to be cunning enough to pull Surfer into a trap and then try to snap his neck or something. Or he uses one of his many tools in his impressive arsenal of gear and just try to kill Limbo that way. Both, however, are long-term win cons. So, Surfer's win cons are also long-term, however, the energy drain could technically work on Limbo at a certain point early enough in the fight to where Surfer could possibly win. I think that's mostly it, right?
I think so. I mean, Limbo, does Limbo have atomization resistance and stuff like that? I don't really remember that.
Every Warframe has an intrinsic form of resistance against heat, against cold, atomic manipulation for weapons like beams. They can take that kind of damage just fine. And then for narrative stuff, and then for narrative stuff for Surfer, you could argue the same for Limbo. Just argue Kiluvo literally bled into the story of Duviri, right? So you can match potency just fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in all honesty, this does turn in kind of a game like who's gonna get who first in this way. Because again, I can argue Silver Surfer kind of just getting out of dimensional traps and stuff. It's just that finding Limbo is gonna be probably the hardest part about it.
Yeah,
if they're fighting an area,
finding a place for Limbo would be vulnerable and in danger. Would be a very rare situation for him. But I guarantee you, it will happen sometimes. So.
Right, and before anyone says he has cosmic awareness, it doesn't go that far.
Yeah.
Because I know people in the comments are gonna be like, "Well, he has cosmic awareness, so he should figure it out." That's not how his cosmic awareness works. I know people are gonna say this for the gladiator experience where he knew his weakness. that's a different application than knowing that someone has like a whole dimension with them. It's like a whole it's a very different application for Surfer's cosmic awareness than for him to know that someone's packing a whole universe in their arsenal, than for him to know a simple weakness like radiation. It's vastly different. So yeah, cosmic awareness, for him to know, like, I think he'll know how to get out of the dimension, but as to find Limbo like right after that, no, I don't think that's gonna be a thing for his cosmic awareness. I'm just making sure everybody gets that clear now.
What we're saying here is Surfer is the physically imposing one of the two. We're also saying that his power cosmic is pretty scary, to keep him from being off-guarded by, like, really violent, brutal attacks. That's completely fine. However, once we start looking into the fact that Limbo's just a troll amongst all trolls, and his cunning and wits are, like, pretty scary, that's when we can start getting into the question of how long can they fight for before Limbo eventually catches Surfer in a place where he's vulnerable too.
Right.
Because that power cosmic is pretty scary.
And again, this is not to say Surfer...
Yeah, like, that power cosmic is pretty scary, but it doesn't work on parallel world nonsense from, like, a different universe. Like, Marvel has different universes for, like, a reason, so...
Like in the whole Silver Surfer, Black, I think we discussed that earlier, where his intangibility was just fine until he got blasted by a Cancerverse character. So it was just obviously his intangible. In other universes there are different properties.
Yeah, like I mean I think that mostly covers it in the video. Limbo's pretty scary. Surfer's pretty scary. And they both have ways of getting the drop on each other with at least 2 long-form win cons. So
the thing about this entire matchup is, I think it's the funniest thing here because, and again, we did discuss this earlier, is like speed. Usually when anyone argues Silver Surfer against someone like Superman, Doomsday, Godzilla, he's usually the fastest dude. Like, it's usually like that argument that people always hinge on. Silver Surfer is always the fastest dude in the room. But then you have someone like Limbo, who's not only just as fast, but he has a way to kind of like
get around the speed
forward with his whole right. He has like a hack that's just like, yeah, you're fast, but I can just put my body in put my physical form in a whole dimension, and you wouldn't be able to hit me.
And you see just a random ass troll face on Limbo, and he's just giving Surfer the universal sign, which is the finger. Oh god.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
It's definite. Oh god. It's like comedic.
Yeah, like this fight is probably one of the funniest fights I've ever made in a while. I'm not gonna lie. If you want to hear more like it's wacky cuckoo crap like this, like check out Grimlock. He covers like Marvel and DC stuff. Some Transformers. If you're from his channel and you're coming to mine, I cover video game sailing, Destiny, Warframe, now Elder Scrolls. So
he's the best.
I don't know if I'm the best, but I try. Anyway, if you guys like this video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. Both of us would enjoy that very much. And
mostly.
And assuming Limbo and Surfer doesn't blow up the universe, we'll see you later. Bye bye.
See ya.